Hey everybody, my name is Eric Hopkins and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're finding me for the very first time or you are a returning viewer and have not yet done so, please click that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when I put up new content right here on this channel. So I've got a little bit more movie news for you guys here today. Some of the news stories has been breaking over the last few days. So let's not waste any more time and let's get into the first news article here. It comes to us from Screen Rant. Jumanji 4 producer gives an update on the movie's progress. Hiram Garcia, producer on Jumanji 4, has spoken about work on the upcoming sequel and their efforts to knock it out of the park, quote unquote. President of production for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's company, Seven Bucks Productions, Garcia has recently celebrated the release of Johnson's Jungle Cruise for Disney and is busy at work on a massive production schedule, which includes Johnson's DCEU debut of Black Adam. Johnson first founded his production company in 2017, with its first film being Paramount's Baywatch reboot. Ugh. And it currently has well over 20 different projects in various stages of development, including a sequel to 1986's Big Trouble in Little China. Directed by Jacob Kasdan, both 2017's Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle and 2019's Jumanji The Next Level are direct sequels to the original 1995 film, which famously starred the late great Robin Williams. We miss you, Robin. Set 21 years after the events of the first film, the most recent Jumanji outing saw the mystical board game transformed into a video game that traps a group of teenagers into the game's avatars played by Johnson, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Karen Gillan. In the third film, Awkwafina joined the cast as a new avatar alongside screen veterans Danny Glover and Danny DeVito. In late 2019, Johnson hinted at a potential Jumanji 4, and those plans were confirmed by Kasdan in March of last year. More recently, Johnson's producing partner Garcia has spoken with Collider and suggested that they are currently working hard on the next film, ensuring that they get it right. What he said was this: "We're very focused on delivering the best version of that story. Obviously, when you're fortunate enough to bring a team back together for the third time, you want to knock it out of the park. It's important for us to deliver something big for the fans while still expanding on our Jumanji story. So we are drilling down deep and collaborating closely with our writers, director Jake Kasdan, and producer partner on this, Matt Tolmack. While Garcia's update is good news for Jumanji fans, the big question will be whether or not Johnson and his team will be able to lure Jack Black for another outing. In late 2019, Jack Black famously announced that Jumanji The Next Level would possibly be his last film, saying that he is kind of enjoying the idea of early retirement. That's the first I've heard of that, actually. That announcement aside, however, Black has been confirmed to be providing the voice of Claptrap for the upcoming Borderlands film adaptation, so perhaps those retirement plans have not yet swung into full effect. Whether or not Black returns, both Gillan and Hart have announced that they are both keen to see the films continue and are likely to return for their third outings. The big hurdle, however, will be wrangling a shooting schedule together which suits each star's own enormously busy plans, as not only is Johnson heavily tied up in several other projects, but Gillan is also set to return as Nebula for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. In the meantime, Jumanji fans will be eagerly awaiting any further news about when production may officially kick off. So, yes, I'm very much looking forward to Jumanji 4. Slight spoilers for the end of the last Jumanji film, The Next Level. The post-credit scene clearly teased a fourth film. So, to me, if you're going to tease something like that, you better be prepared to pay it off. And it sounds like they are going to make good on their promise here, as many of us thought that they would, because the first Jumanji film, Into the Jungle, I think it was called Into the Jungle, was a big box office success. It released the same month as one of the Star Wars films. I believe it was The Last Jedi. And it absolutely made, I think it made either $1 billion or close to $1 billion. It made a bunch of money. So the fact that it got The Next Level, the sequel, was a no-brainer. And of course, I think that one didn't do quite as well, but it was still a lot of fun. Not quite as good as the first film that they did together with The Rock, Karen Gillan, Kevin Hart, and Jack Black, but it still had a lot of heart and it still had a great story to it. So I want to see them tie this off and maybe complete their trilogy, even though to me Jumanji will always be a quadrilogy if that's the case, because you cannot just let go of the Robin Williams movie. And even one of these Jumanji films with The Rock also paid homage to Robin Williams' character and stuff like that. So it's definitely a direct sequel. It's not a reboot. So I'm very glad that they honored Robin Williams' legacy in that regard when it comes to the Jumanji film, because that was one of my favorite films growing up. Definitely, with a very young Kirsten Dunst in it as well, before she played Mary Jane Watson in the Spider-Man movies directed by Sam Raimi. So yeah, I mean, it holds a special place in all of our hearts, I think, growing up. That movie is now, I think, 26 years old. My goodness. So it's good to see that they updated the Jumanji game from the board game here in this photograph all the way to, the video game adaptation that they used in the newer movies to kind of update it for modern times. So I liked all the story ideas they had with it. It had a lot of good comedy, a lot of great action as well. It's just a lot of fun at the movie. So I can't wait to see what they do with Jumanji 4, and I hope that movie comes out sooner rather than later, and hopefully they can get Jack Black back. It was the first I've heard about the fact that he talked about possible retirement. Can't blame him, but at the same time, finish this out, and if not, I guess this would be a character you could ride out to a degree because it's an avatar in a game. But the post credits, he's kind of had it look like the Jumanji world was coming into the real world, kind of like they did in the first film with the Robin Williams character a little bit. So we'll have to see where they take it. But I would really like to see Jack Black come back. Those four have great chemistry together, and I'd love to see more from that group. So, all right, so that'll do it for the first topic of the day. So let's get into the second topic here, and this, of course, comes to us from Deadline. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Idris Elba is set to play Knuckles, the famous Sonic the Hedgehog character in the sequel. This just in, but the Suicide Squad star Idris Elba is joining Paramount's Sonic the Hedgehog 2, voicing the famed character of Knuckles. Knuckles is a red, I'll probably butcher this, echidna? Is that how you say that? And he's the guardian of the Master Emerald in the video games. He is also known to be hot-headed and a fighter. Elba joins previously announced James Marsden, Ben Schwartz, who voices Sonic in the first film, Tika Sumpter, Natasha Rothwell, Adam Pally, Shamar Moore, and, of course, Jim Carrey. He better be returning as the evil Dr. Robotnik, because he did a great job. It's one of his best comedic performances he's had in a long time. Kind of brought me back to the old days of Jim Carrey. Jeff Fowler is returning to direct on the sequel after delivering a pre-pandemic blockbuster for Paramount with the first 2020 film, which grossed close to $320 million worldwide. Pat Casey, Josh Miller, and John Whittington are writing the script off a story which Casey and Miller penned based on the Sega video game. So yes, Idris Elba is a 5-time Emmy nominee and won a Golden Globe in 2012 for Best Actor in a miniseries for Luther. His recent features include Netflix's The Harder They Fall and Concrete Cowboy, as well as Universal, Will Packer's Beast, and George Miller's 3,000 Years of Longing. Elba made it official on his Instagram when he posted the picture that was shown a second ago with the animated Knuckles, his fist balled up with the knuckles that are protruding there. So he made it official by posting that photo, and then he wrote "knock knock" # Sonic Movie 2. So yes, this is great. I can't wait to see Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I clearly loved the first film. It was a little bit of a surprise to me. A lot of video game movies sometimes don't hit very well. And of course, there was a great big deal of backlash when it come to the design of Sonic the Hedgehog himself. But when the fans spoke up about it, the studio shelled out some extra money, and they ended up fixing the CGI for Sonic, and he ended up looking absolutely spectacular by the time the movie came out. Not the greatest of stories, clearly, but it had a lot of heart, and it was a lot of fun. And of course, the post-credit scene, well, you can't quite see him here with my face in front of him, but they introduced the character of Tails, and of course that is going to be setting up the sequel, and it appears they're going to be bringing in Knuckles as well. So I can't wait to see this. Some of these characters are, deep in our memories when we were playing Sega, back in the day, and a lot of people still play Sonic the Hedgehog games today. It's just an iconic character in the world of video games, and I can't wait to see where they take Sonic the Hedgehog 2. That movie, I believe, hits theaters, I think it's 2022. I could be wrong on that. I'm not totally sure on the exact date for it as well, but I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I can't wait to see where they take Knuckles. Idris Elba is a great voice actor. Well, he's a great actor in general, but his voice is absolutely, he's got that deep baritone, which I know a lot of people were hoping to kind of hear from a Knuckles character for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes as well. So, all right, let's get into our final topic of the video here. And that, of course, will come to us from Screen Rant. Godzilla vs. Kong writer teases future of the MonsterVerse movies here. Godzilla vs. Kong writer Max Bornstein teases the development of future installments in Legendary's MonsterVerse franchise. The series first launched in 2014 with the American reboot of Godzilla, which received generally positive reviews from critics and grossed over $529 million against a $160 million budget. I was a little bit critical of that movie just because of the fact it didn't show the monsters nearly enough. It focused too much on the humans, but they've since kind of gotten a little bit better with that, so I'll give them a little bit of a break. This success would lead to 2017's Kong Skull Island, probably to me one of the better of the franchise here. And then, of course, 2019's King of Monsters, which I thought was probably the best one in this series so far. A lot of great monster action in that movie, for sure. And that's what you pay to see when you go see these films. We don't necessarily need to see all the human elements and the storytelling that they're wanting to do with those. And the recently released hit Godzilla vs. Kong, which I wasn't a big fan of. I felt like it was one of the weaker of this series, actually. Great action and CG, no doubt about it, but I just kind of thought the side missions and stuff and some of the human stuff was not nearly as entertaining. Bornstein has been attached to the franchise since its inception, having written the script for Godzilla and co-writing Kong Skull Island and Godzilla vs. Kong, which helping develop the story for Godzilla King of the Monsters. The latest installment in the MonsterVerse franchise acted as a culmination of the first three films as the titular kaiju first began fighting each other, only to later team up and face off against a greater threat. So they basically pulled a Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. With their interconnected stories seemingly coming to a conclusion in Godzilla vs. Kong, the future of the series has been largely unknown, save for teases that director Adam Wingard is in negotiations to helm a new film and Son of Kong reportedly being in development. While no new word has been given as of yet, one person closely involved in the franchise has offered some hopeful insight to the future. This is where, in anticipation of the release of the biographical drama Worth, Bornstein spoke exclusively with Screen Rant about his time with the MonsterVerse. In looking to the future of the franchise, Bornstein confirmed he does know of talks regarding installments currently in the works. He said this: "I've heard some exciting things that are happening that I can't divulge. They have a great handle on things there, and I certainly have thoughts, and I'm always excited when I get involved in them. I think it is in good hands, and with the success of Godzilla vs. Kong, there will be some new, interesting installments coming." Without being able to say any of that officially, you can look at that fact that the film performed and people really responded to it. I think it was really wonderful timing for people to have that towards the end of that surge in the pandemic. People really felt eager to see something that was fun and joyful in the cinema, and it was really exciting to have our movie be that movie. So yeah, it sounds like there's a possibility that we could be getting more Godzilla versus Kong, well, maybe not versus, but Godzilla and Kong movies in the so-called MonsterVerse, and I think that could be a lot of fun. I kind of felt, I'm not going to lie, when I was watching the Godzilla vs. Kong movie that came out on HBO Max earlier this spring, that by the end of that film, I was sitting there thinking to myself, okay, I've seen about all the monsters and robotic monsters that I've ever really wanted to see on film now. So a part of me in my head was going, maybe they ought to stop after Godzilla vs. Kong. But it sounds like the studio and the writer and the director obviously have more ideas that they want to, flesh out and continue to tell the stories to. So if they've got a good story in regards to Son of Kong, obviously they did kind of set up this underworld type portal type thing, like under the earth, and it was really weird, but They definitely left open some story elements that they could potentially revisit and tell some good convincing stories. So I'd like to see maybe where their ideas or what their ideas are and where they might be going with them. But to me personally, I just kind of felt I'm a little monstered out, so to speak, because I've kind of just, like I said, I've just seen all the monsters that I've cared to ever see in a kaiju film personally. But unless you want to do like a crossover with Pacific Rim or something like that, and even then, speaking of Idris Elba, the first one was the only one that was good. Yeah, so we'll just have to see where they take this. I'm excited to see what they're doing with the story. But to me personally, it's not something I'm super excited to see, but I'll be glad to check it out if they do, in fact, make another one. All right, so that'll do it for me, guys. Well, what are your thoughts on all these topics that I've got here today? Are you excited for Jumanji 4? Are you looking forward to them making another one? What do you think of Idris Elba being cast as Knuckles in Sonic the Hedgehog 2? Do you think he's a good fit, or do you think you would rather had some other actor do the voice work? Also, what is your thoughts on the potential of new Godzilla and Kong movies? Please comment down below. Let me know, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get all the notifications about when I put up new content right here on this channel. And until my next video, guys, take care.
Target